So today's homework will be the Santa Claus. These assignments, I just gave you your progress report. Make sure that your mom signs it. Uh, and don't be lying to your mom that you didn't get anything because if you didn't give it to your parents, that's fine with me. I have a record that shows that I gave it to the kids on 12/2/24. It'll come out in my record. Plus, some of you will be responsible. Some of you will be responsible and bring it back, and that's also my record. So at the bottom is your average. Your mom will sign date. If you want to fix any of these grades, and I'm hiding the kid's name in this case, if you want to fix any of these grades that are lower than a 70, you need to stay after school for tutorial this week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, I mean, not Tuesday, my bad, today, Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday. If you never stay after school, you're going to keep those grades. Okay? Your average is at the bottom. This is for the first 3 weeks of the 36 weeks. Okay? Any questions? And your parents want to talk to me, at the very top, I left my number there. It's in English and Spanish to review your child's grades for the first 3 weeks of this 36 weeks. And I did mention that you have the whole holiday week to complete this stuff. And some of you still left it up. So I just closed them already. So if you want to reopen them, you better stay either today, Wednesday, or Thursday after school. Okay? And if you haven't given me this permission slip, I need it already. Explain to your parents that this one is covering reading and math for the rest of the year. Right now, my tutorials are from 3 to 4 only, but this is covering everything ya una vez. Why did I put 5? Because some of you can stay the extra hour with Ms. Lopez Garcia, and she'll let you continue working on my stuff that you owe me, or you can work on her stuff if you actually have her as a teacher. So that's why it says student 5. But this will cover the whole year for reading and what? Math. So make sure that you bring me this back because I need them. So like that, when I do start doing tutorials through the 5, which I will start when we come back after Christmas vacation, this is ready to go. Okay? But right now it's really more trying to make up, trying to see what you're doing wrong the first semester. That's what tutorials is. The first hour is to catch you up. Okay. Ahora sí vamos a darle aquí. It's going to be the Santa Claus on your homework journal. Just go ahead and put this title. Put here homework on your homework journal. Today's date. It's the Santa. That's the emoji. And it's going to be ratio and rates. Ratio and rates. Okay? And you'll have only questions for homework for today. The 12 is going to be from questions 21 through 24. So your homework is only be 21 to 24. If you do need a copy, I will have copies too. Okay? Let me show you your homework for the purpose of video. You will have question 21, question 22. Okay, and I'm showing you this so you can pause it in case you don't want a copy. You can do it still at home by watching the video and pause it, and then you can still work on your prompts. Question 23 and question 24. Of course, I'm doing 2 with you. We're gonna do 2 together right now. So really, how many do you have for homework? 2. Okay, so that's why you should be responsible. Now, if you do take a copy, you'll have in the back more prompts, but that's for tomorrow. So do not even worry about that. I decided to go reverse because usually we do good at the beginning, but we start messing up at the end because those are harder prompts. Okay? So your homework, if you open it now, let me show you how it looks in the actual assignment. It's right here. You'll have 5 slides, but you don't have to do all 5 slides for homework. You're going to go straight to the last slide, slide 5, and that's where you start. Okay? I'm going reverse this time. I'm not going forward because the forward ones are pretty easy. It's when we go to slide 5 when we start having trouble. So I decided to go reverse. So 21 through 24 is for homework for today. Tomorrow we're going to be doing 17 through 20. That's Tuesday. Wednesday we're going to do slide 3 and slide 2. I'm going to start picking it up a little bit. Some of slide 2 and some of slide 3. So on Wednesday I will pick it up to 6 pounds or 8 pounds. And then Thursday we'll finish the whole thing and submit. Any questions? Today is slide 5 only. Here we go. I'm going to do number 21 and you're going to be doing number 22 for homework. So number 21 in your homework journal, guys. If you don't have your homework journal, make sure that you come during ninth grade so we can find it. In the past 2 days, a trucker spent a total of 7.25 hours making morning deliveries and 6.75 hours making afternoon deliveries. At this rate, how many hours will a trucker spend making deliveries in 8 hours? Okay, so we start with a question. First of all, you saw the word what? Rate. That's so important. If you see the word rate or ratios, you need to shove it quickly in there as your question. Okay? But then we're gonna go with Alice. What she's gonna say next is true. They do want to know how many what? Bless you. How many what? Look at it. How many what? How many what? Hours. How many hours will the trucker spend delivering in 8 days? Oh, how many hours in 8 days? That's my question. Question so far? So now I know that they want to know how many hours in what? 8 days. Facts.
8 days. 8 days.
I go here and I say in the past 2 days. Okay, so we have 2 days.
7.25 hours.
He spent a total of 7.25 hours making morning deliveries. Okay, so 7.25 hours. And that was in the morning. Yes? And continue reading. And 6.75 hours in the afternoon. 6.75 hours afternoon. So let me review so far with what I'm just reading and getting the math. Rate is a math word. It's dealing with ratios. How many hours? That is math. They want to know the hours. In 8 days, that's math. The facts is that in 2 days, this driver in 2 days, he works 7.25 hours in the morning and 6.75 hours in the afternoon. These hours are for the 2 days. Questions so far? Now the strategy. As soon as I saw this word rate, or as soon as I know that it's about ratios, and here's another word that tells me it's about ratios, in hours in 8 days, I'm going to do a proportion. What is a proportion? Two ratios that are equal. That is a proportion. So because I saw the word rate, or in this case even in, those two words represent a situation that deals with ratios. My strategy is to create a proportion. That's my strategy. There's many ways to solve this one, but that's what I think you should do. That's the best way to do it. Questions so far? Now my next thing is to label. Before I attack it, I need to label who am I going to put on the top and who am I going to put on the bottom. Based on what we have, who should we put on the top? What word should we put? Miren todo lo que tenemos aquí. Days, hours, morning, afternoon, days, hours. What words should we probably use here?
Morning. Hours.
Hours. And what else? Days. Now, she mentioned morning. Did they ever ask you specifically morning only? No, we need to look at the question. How many hours in what? 8 days. So really the words that we're gonna be using is gonna be hours to what? Days. So we're gonna put hours on the top, days on the what? Bottom. This is so important in proportions that I need to figure out quién va a ir arriba, quién va a ir abajo. So I need to go read my stuff. That's why when we copy the facts, we need to put labels. Those 10.25 hours, that number is hours, this number is hours. This one is for the morning, this one for the afternoon, those two is for the days. Then they want us to find 8 days. Questions? So we have hours and days. Now here's where the problem begins for some kids. Okay? So do you understand why you put those? Because está preguntando hours and what? Days. The ratio is hours to days. Now we're ready to start solving. I don't need this right now because I have all my stuff ready to go. So I'm gonna write my proportions so I can start solving. And let's start with the facts. We focus on the facts. How many days do we have? Two. So top or bottom?
The bottom.
Bottom, because where do we say that we're gonna put them? In the bottom. We decided already here, we're putting them on the bottom. So the days will be at the bottom. Hours. Which one do I put? Morning? Did they just want morning? Did they ever mention I just only want morning?
They want both.
They want both. So what should we do? Add. Guys, you see those 2 days? Those 2 days are for both. And the question wants hours. They didn't say morning or afternoon, they just want hours. So guess what we have to first do? Add. So go to the side and add. Go ahead and add it for me and see how much you get. And that would be the hours. So we're gonna put here hours. How much did y'all get? 14.00, right? Yes or no? So do I need the 0.00 after all? No, now we can get rid of it and say 14. So he does 14 hours in how many days? Two. That's what this means. In 2 days, he does 14 hours. Now, we don't separate them because they didn't separate them in the question. They do this purposely to confuse you and say, a ver, ¿qué vas a poner? Some of you will put 7.25, but we need both because the question says hours. They don't specify morning or afternoon, they just want hours. Question with this part? Hours, it came from here. Days, it came from there. Everything came from the facts to start. Now we're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna go to the question. They mentioned in what days? 8. So should I put the 8 on the top or on the bottom? Bottom. You know why on the bottom? Because the word days is on the bottom. Because you guys decided to go hours to days. Now, do we know how many hours are in 8 days? Do we know how many hours are in 8 days? No. As a matter of fact, that's why they're asking us how many hours in what? Since they're asking us about the hours in 8 days, guess what? This is what we don't know, so we're gonna call him X. Any questions so far? So look what's going on here. Kids always get confused. Where do I put the X? Pues checa que te están preguntando. How many what?
Hours.
So in the word hours, you should have a what? An X, the unknown. The unknown because I do not know. They're asking me about it. Any questions so far? Now comes the algebra, so pay attention. I'm going to solve this algebraically, not like elementary way. Okay? So algebraically means this. Whenever we have an equation that has letters, let me start with this. Don't copy this, just listen. What's the x worth here? Good. What's the x worth here? No, -7. What's the x worth here? Good. You were able to quickly know what the x is worth, right? Do you know why you were able to quickly know what the x's were? Because of the equals 9 and the x is all by its what? Self. The problems begin when this happens. Is the x by himself now? 3x plus 5 equals negative 24. No, the x is not by himself, so I'm going to have to do an algebraic. This is an algebraic equation. So I have to solve algebraically. I need to leave the x all by him what? Self. Because when it was by itself, you guys went pretty fast. But now that it's not by itself, I'm going to have a hard time knowing what the heck x is worth, so I'm going to have to solve it algebraically. I'm going to teach you that today. Is the x by himself? No, 7x divided by 24 equals 84. The x is not by itself. Now, this is just joking around because long time ago when I did algebraic equation with a class, on the instructions I put find x, and a kid just circled all the x and said found it, found it, found it. Find x means to solve for x. What's the x worth? We do not know what the x is worth. I do not know what the x is worth. I need to know how much is it worth. When the x is by itself, we quickly know what he's worth. Yes or no? Okay? But when the x tiene un metiche allí, like here, está el metiche de 3, está el metiche de 5, I need to get rid of those metichones so we can find what x is worth. Aquí ¿quién está de metiche? 7, and who else? 24. So we need to get rid of those two so we can leave the x by itself. Today I'm going to teach you how to do that. So look what we have here. We have an algebraic equation. 14 divided by 2 equals x divided by 8. Since we're doing proportions, I'm going to cross multiply. So I like to cross multiply the ones with the x first. So I'm going to take care of this guy first. What's 2 times x? Do you know what 2 times x is? No? I didn't think you would know. So today I'm going to show you what that means. When you're in elementary, don't copy none of this. Just listen. When you're in elementary, you had this problem. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Instead of doing that, you could have done 3 times 4. Yes or no? Because repeated addition is multiplication. Yes? Okay. So, if I have P plus P plus P, I can go 3 times what? P. Yes or no? Let's try another one. X plus X, I can go 2 times what? X. Yes or no? Okay. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that when I multiply a number times a variable, 2 times x means 2x plus x, which is 2x. A number next to a letter means multiply. A number next to a letter means multiply. So if I multiply 2 times x, the answer is 2x. So let's try another one. What's 5 times y? 5y. What's 8 times x? 8x. 7 times z? 7z. All I'm doing is, if I'm multiplying a number with a letter, we just put it together like this. Because a number next to a letter still means what? Multiply. So let me go back to your problem. What would be 2 times x?
2x.
2x. Good. So we're doing cross products, so we're checking if it's proportional. We're trying to find the x. 2 times x is 2x. Now 8 times 14. Go to the side and take care of that for me. 8 times 14. And tell me how much you all get. 100 what? I believe it's true. Because 8 times 4 is 32, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3, 9, 10, 11, 11. 112, yes. So 2 times x was 2x, 14 times 8 was 112. Now let's go back to my original idea. Is the x by itself? No, todavía está aquí en el metiche. El 2. But it looks better, right? Right now, originally was all this mess. Now you simplified it. Now it looks better. 2x equals 112. That's a little bit better. But the x todavía ahí de metichón, ¿quién? 2. Who do you need to get rid of then? The 2. Because we want the x to be all by itself, like we had it here. Pero ahorita está making the 2, so we need to get rid of them. So how do I get rid of a multiplication situation of that 2? I use a strategy for algebra. When we're solving for x, we're trying to find the x, we use what's called SAT-M. When we're trying to leave x all by himself, or y, or a, whatever letter it is, we're trying to leave it all by itself, we use SAT-M as a strategy. I'm going to show you how to use that. S means subtract, A means add. Why did I draw a line? Because these two are inverses of each other. They are inverses of each other. D, divide, M, multiply. These are inverses of each other. Why do I call it SAT-M? SAT metiche. Because we're trying to get rid of the metiche. And once we get rid of him, he might be sad. Do you understand? Sad metiche. We're trying to get rid of the metiche of 2. Okay. Any questions with what this means? Now, how do we use it? Here we go. This is to solve algebraically. I'm trying to solve for x. I'm trying to find what the value of x is. So to solve for a letter, we have to leave it all by itself. Because when it's by itself, you guys quickly knew the answer. Pero ahorita no está by itself, está el metiche de quién? 2. But here's what we do. Are we subtracting these two? No. Are we adding these two? No. Are we dividing these two? No. Are we multiplying? Yes, because I just told you a number next to a variable means multiply. So let's circle multiply. We circle what does this mean right now? 2 times a number. 2 times x, that's what it means. So I'm going to multiply. Right now we're multiplying. To get rid of that 2, we're going to do the inverse. The inverse of multiply is to what? Divide. So again, let me kind of go over this again. We're trying to leave x all by itself. Yes? To get rid of the 2, the one we call the metiche, we need to do the inverse of what's going on. What's going on, a number next to a letter means multiply. So the inverse of multiply would be to what? Divide. Now algebra is like a balance. You know why it's like a balance? Because this equal sign is like a balance. So we have a balance like this. If I do something to one side, the balance is going to change, right? So what you do to one side, you have to do to the what? Other side, so we can keep it balanced. So that's how we need to think of algebra. If I do minus, I better do minus. If I multiply, I better multiply. Because that equal sign is very powerful. It's like a little balance. You know what a balance is, right?
Like a seesaw.
Exactly. A balance scale. And that's how you can think of algebra. I should tell the kids algebra is like a woman or like a man. Like for example, if you're lifting weights, the boys, they're lifting weights, 10 reps on one arm, they better do what on the other arm? 10 reps, because if not, she's gonna be all strong from one side and then the other side is gonna be like, what happened? Or they're working on their behind, I don't know, right? You're gonna get a bench, put that leg up, I don't know if you knew this, and get the weight and start going down. Straight. Así, hacer varios. Now, if I just do one side, vas acá, y no el otro lado. Or like a woman, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So if she puts here, right here, eyeliner, or qué, ¿cómo se llama esto? Eyeshadow, sorry. Eyeshadow here, she better put what eyeshadow where? On the other side. If she puts mascara here.
How? That's really.
Or what's this called?
Foundation?
The little thing when it becomes pinkish.
Oh, blush.
Okay, blush. So if she puts blush on this side, she better put blush on the what?
Other side.
Other side. Because if not, she's gonna be all like, oh wow. And then she turns around like, whoa, what happened, right? So I tell the kids that that equal sign means that if I do something to one side, I better do it to the what? Other side. Like a woman would do with their makeup, or like a guy would do with his lifting weights trying
Or
to get
seesaws.
stronger. Okay?
Or seesaw.
So that's what I mean by a balanced scale. So let me show you an image of a balance. That's what I mean. So if I put 10 pounds here, I better put what over here? 10 pounds. If I subtract 5 pounds, I better subtract 5 pounds or whatever it is to keep it. So this little stick here is the equal sign. So if I multiply by something, I better multiply by the same thing on the other side. That's what algebra is. Okay? Let me go back now to the actual. There we go. Okay. Here we go. So a number next to a letter means multiply. So I'm going to do the inverse, which is what? Divide. So divide. The fraction part means divide by 2. But what you do to one side, you do to the other side. So now we have divide by 2, divide by 2. Now you see these two 2's? They cancel each other. They're gone. So who's by itself now?
At this moment, please post your attendance.
Who's by itself now?
Thank you.
X.
Teachers, at this moment, please post your
Isn't that what
attendance.
you wanted? X to be by
Thank you.
itself?
Yeah.
Yes. So now I need to go solve this one. 112 divided by 2, bottom out. 112 divided by 2. 1, is that enough?
No.
10, is that enough?
Yeah.
And put the decimal quickly because now you're going to put it in the wrong place, guys. Times what? 5. Now 12 is what we have. Times what? Times what? 6. X equals 56. Now I know that in 8 days, he will work how many hours? 56 hours. In 8 days, he'll be working 56 hours delivering packages. Okay, so I can go and check what the choice I have as an options, and I have as an option choice C. So I can put here also my paper choice C. The way I did number 21, you're going to go home and do number 22. Okay? Same situation, but instead of 2 days, now this guy's taking 3 days. He hikes on the first day, on the second day, and on the third day he's hiking. And they want to know at this rate how much will he hike in 9 days. So just the way I did it, you're going to do the same thing. Okay, so if you're confused, you can watch the video, it'll be on YouTube. And you have your notes here too that we did together right now. The next one, I'm going to do now number 24 because 24 I think is tougher than 23, but it's doing the same idea. 24 says at a grocery store, the ratio of the price of a dozen eggs to the price of a loaf of bread is 5 to 3. Together, a dozen eggs and a loaf of bread cost $4. What is the price of loaf of bread in dollars and cents? What is the price of a loaf of bread in dollars and cents? Got it? Okay. Well, number 20 what? 4. Remember 22 is for homework. 21, 22 is for homework. They match. 24, we're doing it right now. And 23 will be for homework. They match. Okay? So 24 it says, what is the price of a loaf of bread? Okay, so what's the question? They want the price of the bread. Question so far? Facts. Oh, they mention ratio also. They mention ratio. in the story. It says a grocery store, the ratio of the price of the, so they did mention that. So now let me continue reading. The ratio of the price of dozen eggs to the price of a loaf of bread is 5 to 3. So the ratio, this is the facts now. The ratio is 5 to what? 3. They already gave it to me. 5 to 3. Yeah. We learned that last time that the colon means that the fraction bar. 5 to 3. There you have it. Now let me label. The 5 in this story is the eggs. And in case you want to know how did you know it was the eggs, I read the price of a dozen eggs, 2. You see the word 2? So eggs came first. So 5 has to be eggs. Then who came next? Bread, loaf of bread. So that's why the 3 is the who? Bread. So there's my ratio, 5 to 3. They also mentioned that together the eggs and the bread is $4. So $4 is the cost of what? Of the eggs or the bread? Or both? Let me read it again. Together, the dozen of eggs and loaf of bread cost $4. So what's the $4? For both. So you need to be careful and read. So far, here's what they want. They want the price of the bread only. They give me that for every 5 dozen eggs, I will get 3 loaves of bread, 5 to 3. For every 5 dozen eggs, I will be getting 3 loaves of bread. And the cost together means both, is for $4. That's all we have right now as facts. Strategy. What's my strategy, you think? What will be the strategy? What word is there again? Ratio. What word was there? Rate is a ratio. And what did we do as a strategy? We did a proportion. It's still a proportion, guys. A proportion. As soon as you see word ratio, rates, we're going to do a proportion. That's what I want. Now, is that the only way to do it? No, there's other ways. But right now, I'm going to stick to this way. If I see that you're having trouble with that, then I'll come up with another one. Maybe we can do a table. Or we can do a unit rate. We'll figure out other ways. But I think this is the best way for us. Trust me. Okay. Now we need to put labels. You know how I did labels here? Hours and days? So guess what we need here? Look at your question. For sure, we're going to need who for sure? Bread, for sure. We need bread, for sure. And what will be the other label? Look at the question. Price. So what will be the other label? Cost, right? The money. Bread to cost. Yes? Yes or no? Now, here's where it's going to become complicated for some of you, so pay attention. I'm going to come to this side because I'm kind of running out of space. I should have done another page, but never mind. So for sure, how many breads do we have? 3. Do you know the cost of those 3 breads? No. That's what we need to label. You see, my ratio is bread to cost. The bread we know is 3. O sea, lo puse arriba. Okay, that's where we have it, bread. Arriba 3. But do I know the cost of the bread? No, they're asking us for that. The price of the what? So what should I put underneath the 3? What did I tell you right now when I don't know? Good job, Louis. X. I do not know this. Now, who was the 3 in this story? Bread. And the X is the money. Do we know the money of something? We do know the money of something. How much is the money of something? $4. So where should I put that one? Top or bottom? Bottom. Because the money's on the bottom. Now here's where it becomes hard for some of you. This money is for what? Both. So I cannot put here 3 or I cannot put here 5. I need to put what? Both. So what should I do with these two so I can put both? Add. And how much is that? 8. Do you understand what I just did? This is bread to money, and this is both to both money. But we're trying to find only for the what? Bread. Now that we have our proportion, now it's a piece of cake. We do what we just did. Who do I like to do first? The x. So let's circle 8 times x. How much is 8 times x, guys? 8x. I'm gonna put it over here because I'm gonna go over here. 8x. You guys can put it wherever you're at. And what's 4 times 3? 12. The algebraic equation is 8x equals 12. ¿Estamos metiche todavía? Who's the metiche? 8. So who are we going to use to get rid of the metiche? Sad M. That's how we use to get rid of the metiche. Now a number next to a letter means? A number next to a letter means? Multiply, so circle it. That's what it means. And how do you get rid of the multiplication problem? We do the inverse, which is to divide. Divide by who? Who do you want to get rid of? 8. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Balance. What happens to the 8s? They disappear, they cancel. Who's by himself? That's what we want. Now 12 divided by 8, go ahead and bottom out so you can tell me what you get. 12 divided by 8, bottom out. This is number 24. The way I did number 24, you're going to go home and do number 23. We need to read carefully and check what you're doing. You cannot just set it up however you want. Did anybody finish dividing? 12 divided by 8. Very good. 1.5, which is a dollar what? So the loaf of bread will be a dollar. X equals $1.50. Very good. Now I can go here and I can click on the box and put 1.5 or 1.50. Both of them will be okay. We don't need to put the dollar symbol, guys. Just put 1.5, 1.50. The way I did number 24, you're gonna go home and do number 23. I'm always worried about this type of problem because kids think like this was bread to money. Bread was 3. Money, I do not know because they're asking me about that. But then this one is money, which that's why I put them on the bottom because money goes on the bottom, right? But the problem is that money is for what? Not for the bread and not for the eggs. It's for what? Both. So I have to first add these so I can really put the real ratio. For both 8 items, I would pay $4. I wish the price of the eggs and bread was like that nowadays. Because this is 5 dozens of eggs and 3 loaves of bread, and this guy is just paying $4. I want to go there. I think los puros huevos solo te salen $4 los puros huevos. Anyway, do you understand why I had to add? Because the price, you see that money symbol? We had the ratio bread to money, but this money is for what? Both. So I have to put both of them. I cannot just put 5, I cannot just put 3, because that money is for what? Both. So I have to add. That's how I got the H for. Any questions? Okay. The way I did number 23, you're gonna go home and do the way I did number 24, you're gonna go home and do number 23. And that's it, that's for homework. If you take a copy, your copy, just I wanna remind you, your copy will have 2 sides. But you're only gonna focus on questions 21 through 24, that's the only thing for homework. Of course, I already did half of it, so you only have 2 questions for homework. Please label good, read good, so you'll do fine. And if you're not sure how to do it, like I said, you have this video. Do not forget also to make sure your parents sign this part report. And if you want to make up any of those assignments, Like this kid needs to probably want to make up that guy. It's a major assessment to try to get it to 70. And that's all she needs. That will probably pick her up to the 80 average to the B student. In this case, kid. But some of you have a lot worse cases like this. So please stay today after school, or if not, stay on Wednesday or Thursday. Tomorrow I stay just for like a couple, like I can stay for an hour with certain kids, but not with everybody because I have to run to baseball games tomorrow. Don't forget that I need my signature of my tutorial for Mrs. Weeks too. Okay? And welcome back. I'm glad to see everybody's safe and sound. Now I'm gonna stop the video and I'm gonna put it in YouTube.